ready?
Almost. What do you get, 5 minutes tonight?
You got it.
Hey, Colin McNamara, 47 Grandview Street. Great to be back. Miss you guys.
Nice to see you.
April 4th, 55th anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination. Family still says it's part of a overarching conspiracy, his murder, but we got our patsy. I do wonder what he'd think if he was able to weigh in today, because he was such a champion of equity, and he spoke about how he wished his children would be judged upon the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But now we've seen to flip the script, and now we're promoting equity, which is solely based on people's identity, whether they're racial, sexual, or gender identities. So much so that our own school administrator, Doris Kearney, says that she views every situation through the lens of race. It just seems like kind of crazy. It also creates a lot of division, but I guess that's the plan. So I wanted to speak briefly on light bulbs. So this is a regular incandescent light bulb. It gives off the best light for human beings because it's the closest to the sun. It's continuously burning. Now, in the ultimate wisdom from the federal government, because of sustainability and efficiency, they're banning incandescent light bulbs in August. You can't buy them any longer in America. But you can buy this nice compact fluorescent light bulb, which right on the package says it contains mercury and encourages you to visit the EPA.gov website in case you break it, where it tells you, it used to say evacuate the room for 30 minutes. They changed the science, it's always changing. So now it's only 10 minutes. It tells you not to use a vacuum or touch it with bare hands, and it's a hazard to your children or pets. The other option you have is a LED, light-emitting diode, which the technology is all about flicker rate. Same with fluorescence, really, but it flickers at hundreds of times a second. It's imperceivable to your naked eye, but your circadian rhythms, your moods, your hormones, and your eyes do not appreciate it. It's bad for your health. But the government has got a habit of doing things that are bad for your health, believe it or not. And it's all part of sustainability. Good thing that break. There's actually a bulb that's burning for 100 years, incandescent light bulb in California. When they first came out, they burned for years, but then the corporations figured out we're not selling any light bulbs. So they got together in secret in Europe and had a conference and said we're going to shrink the size of the filament. So instead of it burning for 100 years, say, 50 years, it's only going to burn for a year. And this is what's called planned obsolescence, and it's permeated every sort of manufacturing design ever since. That's why everything we buy is so throwaway and trashy. But then these same people that run these corporations that lobby the government also tell you that your lifestyle is unsustainable. But I don't own any manufacturing plants, so I don't have any say in whether you make a product that's more sustainable or less. But it's just indicative of do one thing, say another. It's sort of analogous to the Manchester Next plan. I know it might be a stretch, but we're being asked to change our zoning and push for equity, inclusion, and diversity, which are a lot of buzzwords, and to switch more from an individual-based zoning to a collective model where preferential treatment is given to certain groups based on some criteria you guys decide whether it's on a sliding scale or not. And the real focus is actually to adopt smart technologies into our town, which will be used to mostly data collect you and limit your use to resources and your future potential. So last thing I'll talk about is the bicentennial. I got good news and bad news. The bad news, should we start with the bad news first? Yeah, the bad news is the logo reminds everybody of Mardi Gras. The merchandise is probably not selling at all because it's incredibly unattractive. And there isn't even going to be a parade because I guess the date just snuck up on everybody. And I know how these things work. It's just time flies, But there are a lot of good events besides a parade in this catalog. And I encourage everyone to get one and look through them. One that I thought was great was that on Flag Day, which is June 14th. I'm not a veteran, so I don't have a real hard, firm stance on the flag and its protocols. But on Flag Day, the Lutz is teaming up with the Spruce Street Farmers Market to hand out gay pride flags instead of American flags. I guess the American flag is too controversial these days, and that the gay pride flag is more acceptable. I just find it interesting that the Lutz is choosing to do this. It seems like it's in bad taste because their previous director is currently serving 5 years for distribution of child pornography. And I just thought it was a bad move on their part, but maybe I'm not aware of the political calculus here. Also, the other good news is even though there might not be a parade, I heard there's another drag show possibly in the works. So maybe the kids can hit up that for some fun.
So Mac,
All right,
finish
thanks for
up.
having me. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Nice to see you live.
Let me get my light bulbs.
Don't drop the Mercury one.
That's right. Show's over.
Props, I like it. Are there any other taxpayers or electors like to come before us?